Hey, what's up guys? Carnaspade here. I am recording this at like 9:05 a.m. on January 17th while I just wait for the ban list and hope it comes today. I just wanted to record this so that I could get some thoughts out of the way first. I think this upcoming ban list will be very interesting because you can't really hit the new products because you still want them to sell. So it's gonna be very odd on what they hit most likely. And I don't know how much it'll change the current meta. I do think we'll get Joker to 3, maybe E-Telly to 3, maybe some of the dangers. But what I'm hoping is that we get like Recital Starling to 1. It's a good way to hit the bird up deck. And maybe some other hits if Konami wants. I don't like Flunder. Flunder's kinda lame. I wish they'd ban the barrier statues, but I know they won't. And I don't know, you can't really do anything about Flunder right now. Sword Soul, there's not really much to hit. It's all new products. I mean, like maybe some of the Tenyis like the Shuna, but I really doubt they'll do that. So yeah. And then next recording will be after Banlist is out.
Hello everyone, it's Chronospade, and today marks the beginning of a new series I've decided to start, Banlist Review. As seen with the voice clip before, it will begin with just a personal thoughts and things about what could change up about the format, and maybe some hits that I could see. Speaking of changing up the format though, this banlist here is absolutely insane. I will be going over each card and discussing their placement on the ban list, so I'll waste no more time and we'll get into the video. Starting with the ban section, this is a pretty good ban section in my opinion. The hits aren't really what I expected, but they do well. To start, we have Arch Nemesis Protos. This card found quite a bit of play in Sword Soul for being a worm, and their alternate win condition with its ability to stop the special summoning of a selected attribute monster. This doesn't do too much to Sword Soul, but it's nice because their main strategy will be revealed and maybe people will learn how to actually hit the deck. Next is Eva. All I can really say is goodbye Drytron's 4000 Negate Enabler. This card being able to add both a hand trap and material for ultimateness's negates is just a bit too much, and having a variety of fairies to banish, like Diviner and Herald of the Arclight, made this card an issue. Next up is Imperial Order. This one came as a surprise to me personally. I didn't expect Konami to throw the hammer down on this card with how long it's really been in the format. It was definitely a sacky main deck option for people and sucked to lose to, but it seems this card drew its final straw for now. The card was a balancer at times, but that doesn't outweigh the fact that people decided to main deck it and make the card very toxic. Next we have Simorg, the Bird of Sovereignty. This is a big hit to Lyrilusk, its Tri-Brigade variant specifically. Banning this card has stopped them from creating a summoning lock with the barrier statue or just summoning another negate. It was also a particular problem when it gave them amazing follow-up on the end phase of your turn when you weren't just able to do anything. Hit will cause them to find a different line of play and doesn't kill the deck, but innovates it. This wasn't the heart of their strategy after all. Next up is the limited section. This is the start to an amazing limited list that I never thought I'd see. My initial impressions on it, the way I looked at it, seeing 4 cards go from banned to limited, was quite astonished and a bit panicked. I'm glad about the results though. Starting with Astrograph Sorcerer. Out of nowhere, Pendulum is beginning to prosper once more. Astrograph Sorcerer is such a big card in Pendulums for the use of its ability, and it's truly a blessing to see it back in the format. It will have a lot of use in Pendulum Magicians and Endymion, 2 of the top decks that can utilize it. It's definitely going to push the format to greater heights, and maybe Pendulums will finally become more popular. Next is Destrudo, the Lost Dragon's Frisian. I will be honest, I don't know too much about the card. While it's very generic and can summon itself just for the cost of a target and some life points, it's also a tuner, so it can give access to things like Crystron Halka-Fibrax. I don't know what this card might do to the format, but I just hope it doesn't break it so we can keep it around. Next is Fairy Tale Snow. Many people probably know about this card, but I personally haven't experienced it. Obviously, it's a level 4 light spellcaster, and that in itself is already pretty good. With its effect to constantly recycle itself not being once per turn, this card has a chance to break the format if people find enough use to constantly banish their cards and recycle them. I don't see it doing too much though. Next is Lunalight Tiger. Zunalight used to be a thing back in the day, or so I'm told at least. This card was easily bounceable by things like Yellow Marten and Blackwing Elite Zephyros, making its pendulum effect that isn't hard once per turn very utilizable. I think this is an interesting card for the format, and I see something like, I don't know, Lunalight Tribrigade pop up. It definitely sounds interesting. Next we have Lyrilusk Recital Starling. This card was a key play for a lot of bird up players, so it's a good thing that it wasn't outright banned. This is a good limit to the bird up deck because it hurts the deck while not outright killing them. This deck is still very much playable with only one Recital Starling. They just have to find different routes of play now, which is good for them. Now, Monster Gate. A card that was used in what is apparently a new FTK. Monster Gate is not a limit I expected because I haven't seen Ruin Force FTK at all. In short, it's looping Machina Ruin Force to make several copies of Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Juggernaut, Libre to burn your opponent with game. This also has potential to be used with Fairy Tail Snow and Destrudo, so maybe the limit was good. Now, Pot of Desires. The only speculation to this hit is that it's a way to hit Sword Soul without actually hitting the real Sword Soul cards, though this hit is just dumb. This card has never been super impactful, so I think we'll see it back to 3 later on, but for now it's limited and will probably stop being played by players. I think one of Desires isn't good after all. Now we move on to Purgatory. This is where cards randomly sit at 2 copies for a while before either being moved up to 3 or back down to 1 or 0. Ruler of Purgatory is obviously malicious though, so props to him. Starting with A Hero Lives, I don't really understand this unhit. Maybe it's to compensate for the next hit that I'll explain. It's not going to do much, and I mean, go heroes, I guess, lose half your life points for a special summon from the deck. Now, Fusion Destiny. Fusion Destiny is a card that has come up a lot more since the last ban listings to the release of Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. This card is just a better Dragoon at this point, but it's a new product, so it can't just get banned. The semi-limit here is just putting more space into people's decks because of Predaplan Verte Anaconda, but at least they'll be hard drawing Fusion Destiny less. In all realism, this hit doesn't do much to Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, and I don't know why they did it. Next is Nadir Servant. This hit came out of nowhere and doesn't really do much. Either way, it is a hit to the Invoke Shadal Dogmatica deck, which is nice. Semi-limiting Nadir Servant hit their consistency slightly, but not in an impactful way. It's just making way for more deck space for these players. Now, Salaman Great Circle. It spent enough time limited, and Salad isn't too relevant now, so I'm glad to see Circle come up to 2. This quick play and search is really cool, and hopefully it finds more uses in today's meta. I don't have much insight on it, as I haven't seen what it can really do, but I doubt it will be too broken. Now, Scapegoat. I really don't know what to say about this. This feels right in a way, because Scapegoat at 1 feels like a GOAT format kind of thing, but I don't see the use in it. And if people start playing this card legitimately, I'll be surprised. Now we move on to the unlimited section. This is where cards leave Purgatory most of the time, and so we'll just get right into it. Danger Nessie. Nice to see the card at 3, the Danger's getting some more freedom on the ban list. I doubt it'll really do anything to the format at all though, unfortunately. Performapal Skullcrobat Joker. Very expected since the last list, since it doesn't take too long for 70 limited cards to come to 3. I welcome Joker and Penbest deck. Red Eyes Darkness Battle Dragon. Very interesting unhit that I think might put dragons back into the format some. This card is a very good extender for them that they can reuse with Guard Dragon Pisty, so maybe dragons will have a chance of being relevant again. Emergency Teleport. Again, expected since it was at 2 on the last list. It's nice to see it being released and people can get creative with this single extender. Now Raigeki. This is probably the most random hit I've seen and will be a bit dangerous. Without Imperial Order to stop this card, people will need their spell negates or anti-spell fragrance. Don't play it. Or their boards will start getting wiped with ease. I see this being a good side deck card for monster heavy decks. Skill Drain. With Order banned, I didn't think this would be at 3 all of a sudden. Definitely promotes the use of trap decks like Eldritch, which thrive without the use of effects of monsters on the field. I don't see it shaking up the format much with Destroyer or Phoenix Enforcer around to pop it, but who knows. So what exactly will this ban list do to the format? Well, Bird Up is probably going to jump down a few tiers at first glance, and depending on the decks that rise, Swordsaw might fall as well. I believe Pendulum Magicians has a shot at becoming more meta-relevant now, with Astrograph Sorcerer and such. Maybe Dragon Link will see relevancy with Destrudo and more red eyes Dark Metal Dragon. I have a feeling more Lunalite related decks will show up with Tiger at 1 now, Drytron can hopefully say goodbye, and the format has really been shaken at first glance. I do hope it does stay that way. So those were my takes on the January 2022 ban list hits, with explanations of why cards may have been hit or unhit. I very much enjoyed this, and I very much hope you all enjoyed this series that will come every few months and that you gained insight on the choices that Konami has made regarding their ban list. Do keep in mind that this is partially opinionated and I'm not actually a Konami employee, so I have no real idea on why some of these hits occurred. More content to come soon, then, and best deck guys, see you all another time.